In this unit, we'll learn some of the basic techniques that are available for giving your script files a nice published look. There's a handful of features available, and if you use them properly, they'll give a lot of clarity to your document, make it very easy for someone to read, and they'll give it a very professional look. We'll cover about 6 techniques, including additional text beyond just the cell titles, creating bulleted lists and creating numbered lists, making simple font changes, bold, italics, and monospace fonts, including math and nicely formatted equations, and finally, including pictures. Inside published code cells, there's often need for additional text well beyond just the title of the cell. Here's an example from a file you can download from the course site. The first code cell is just the title, and here in the second cell is what we would like to study. There's a code cell title, then some text, and 2 assignments to radius and circumference. Then I have what looks like a blank cell title, and there's a paragraph. Let me read it. It says, if you also need text after the calculations, be sure to create a new cell without a title. Note that this cell will not show up in the Go To drop-down menu. Then there's an additional calculation with the semicolon omitted, computing the area. So that should result in a command window display, which will also be captured in the published document. Finally, there's another blank cell title, and then a simple sentence. Let's see what this looks like. There you see the cell title and text that goes right after the title but before the executable code. There's the executable code with radius and circumference, shaded nicely. Next is some text that came in the paragraph between there. The blank cell title is critical to get this effect. Finally, another calculation, semicolon omitted, therefore there's a window display, area equals 18.0956. Finally, another blank cell title gives us the trailing sentence at the end. So including text in addition to cell titles is very easy. It is important though that you use blank cell titles to get the effect and have the text appear in between calculations. Creating bulleted lists in a cell is real simple. To start a bulleted list, just leave a blank single comment line, and then in the next comment line, 1 space after the %sign, start with a star character, and then a space, and then the text that you'd like in the list. Here I have 3 list items. The third one is quite a long description. Just continue typing without any extra lines. Finally, to end the list, a single comment, and then continue on with more text after that. Let's see the effect of this. There's the cell title. There's the text that appeared right after the cell title before the list was started. There's the list, item 1, textual description, and so on. You see that the third item has a longer description. Then the list ends, and then some text continues after it. And there is the code cell of the executing code. The last command in the cell is a display. Therefore, there's a string printed to the command window as shown and captured in the published document. Numbered rather than bulleted lists are done in exactly the same manner with one simple change. Rather than the star character, use a £sign. Here's the code for a list consisting of 3 items, producing this published document. Simple font changes are easy to effect. My example here is in a bulleted list, but the formatting can be done in any part of the text. For bold text, use 2 star symbols, as depicted here. The initiating star should immediately be followed by a non-blank character, and the terminating star should be directly after a non-blank character. For italics, same idea, just use underscore. Here the sentence will end with italics words. Finally, for monospace typewriter-like font, use vertical bars. Again, the initiating vertical bar should be immediately followed by a non-blank character, and the closing vertical bar should be preceded by a non-blank character. This example will produce a bulleted list, and each item will end with a font change. Let's look at it. There's the bulleted list. In the first bullet, the last part of the sentence is in bold. Second bullet, the last part of the sentence is in italics. Finally, in the third bullet, the last part of the sentence is in monospace font. In addition to font changes, we'd like to use the capability to make very nice mathematical equations. For math, use the LaTeX formatting commands. In order for the equation to be set on a separate line, leave a blank line as shown, and then start the next line with $2 signs. Then we use LaTeX commands. I'll go over the most basic ones, formatting the equation, and finally double dollar signs to terminate the equation. Then one more blank line, and then continue on with more text. You can also do inline equations using a single dollar sign to initiate and terminate the equation. Subscripts can cause the positioning to be a little off. We'll see that in the published document. Let's look and see what this produces. There's a very professional looking mathematical formula produced by this expression. A little further down in the text, there's two inline equations, and you see that indeed they are positioned a bit awkwardly. In the math example, I included a lot of the basic constructions: Greek letters, fractions, superscripts, subscripts, and some common math symbols such as square root. Search online for LaTeX and math formatting to get more ideas on how to use LaTeX. Lastly, let's address putting pictures in the document. It's easy to include pictures, but the location of the picture file on your computer relative to the script file can be a little bit confusing at first. Let's go over how this works. When we publish a script file, Matlab will create an HTML folder, and the HTML code produced by the action of publishing resides in that HTML folder. So notice that the M file and the HTML file are at different locations, and the referencing can be a little bit confusing. Suppose there's two images, a JPEG file and a PNG file, in the folders as depicted. We edit the script file, and that's where we'll put instructions to include a picture, but the instructions are ultimately in the HTML code, and hence references to the pictures are relative to the HTML folder, which is where the HTML document lives, not where the script file lives. So in the M file, this is the proper way to include these pictures. This markup will include picture 1, which resides in the HTML folder. And this markup, with the 2 dots and the slash, will include the 2 tires JPEG picture, which resides one folder above the HTML folder. That's what the 2 dots and the backslash mean. Move up one folder and look for the file there. Here's the example using exactly that setup. Picture 1 resides in the folder where the HTML lives, and 2 tires small resides in the folder where the script file lives, which is one folder above the HTML folder. Picture 1 is of the space shuttle, while 2 tires small is exactly that, 2 tires. We've now learned about formatting, about 6 different ways to include font changes and text and mathematical equations and pictures in your published script files. You'll be able to use this to create professional looking documents. Download this example file from the course site in order to help you get started on your own formatting.